Hello guys, I hope you're all having a good one. Today I felt like sharing some of my thoughts around Modern Warfare 2 and its current state. My thoughts and opinions are just that, my opinions only. You may agree with them, you may not, but let's begin. I think this Call of Duty just does not feel like Call of Duty. We'll cover various reasons why, including the movement penalties, the map design, the strict skill-based matchmaking, etc, etc. Now, what we are talking about is the multiplayer. We aren't talking about DMZ or Warzone. I played a lot of Warzone back when it came out in Modern Warfare 2019 during the peak of COVID, and while it was fun, I think the Battle Royale category has really been overdone the last few years, with every game having their version of a Battle Royale. Where for me anyway, I'm really done with it for now. I haven't even bothered to play Warzone 2. I have heard many Warzone players also complaining about the state of Warzone 2, but anyway, let's bring it back to the topic at hand, which is multiplayer. So Call of Duty really needs to go back to what made Call of Duty unique in the FPS genre and great in the first place, which is the multiplayer. Call of Duty was the undisputed king of what can be branded as a casual arcade run-and-gun shooter. Back in the day, I was mainly a Counter-Strike player, so outside of scrims and tournament games, I, like most others who played Call of Duty back then, would jump on to have some fun and chill out. Call of Duty as a franchise similar to Battlefield of late is going through an identity crisis, I feel. Call of Duty, thanks to the devs, doesn't know whether it's a Tarkov, a CSGO, Valorant type of game, or a PUBG. Similar to Battlefield, the Call of Duty developers seem to have turned their back on their main fanbase, evidently shown by the drastic changes they have chose to make to the game, in terms of movement speed and mechanics, map design, and the general flow, to the point where, if you had played a majority of the past COD multiplayer titles, and someone gave you this game to play without knowing the name, you probably guessed that it's a cheap knockoff of the Call of Duty title, and rightfully so. Past classic iterations of Call of Duty featured simplistic, small to mid-sized map designs, which allowed for a greater place and balance between playstyles. Players could hold down a line and point should they choose, however options to play aggressive, being fast and calculated to push through a line where the enemy players at least suspected to clean up, and flank the entire opposing team was also viable, thanks to the map designs, leading to a mid to fast paced flow of the game. Players could camp, but it was also possible and easy to punish them for doing so. For 6v6 Modern Warfare 2, the maps literally are cut and paste from areas of Warzone, and hence it is evident that the development team have focused for content to be focused entirely on Warzone, with so far giving hardly a crap about multiplayer, offering bare bones content. This is hugely disappointing for the Call of Duty community that has played the game for what it has been known as a title for decades. I can't believe I'd be saying this, but even Cold War and Vanguard multiplayer maps seem to be created for multiplayer gameplay in mind, unlike any of the Modern Warfare 2 maps, which are blatant ports of areas of the Warzone 2 map. The same is also true for the Ground War maps. I was a huge fan of Ground War in Modern Warfare 2019. The maps were well designed, but there was in most parts a possibility to stay in cover and out of the open as you move through objective point to point, which also gave you the opportunity to pull off some amazing flanks on the enemy team and make some footage. The Ground War maps are so opposite and make me so upset, man. I can describe every Modern Warfare 2 Ground War map in 2 dot points. Number 1, pointlessly open to the point where you are exposed, and number 2, they all have 100 rooftops. Again, if you want to push and make things happen, the map design says nope, as it favors the player sniping from a rooftop or someone holding one of the 100 windows you have to run past. Skill-based matchmaking is a topic that everyone has opinions on. Here's mine. The penalties related to movement with slide cancelling being non-existent and jump shots also feeling clunky. Loud audible footsteps which aid players that don't move themselves and sound whore. Slow ADS regardless of attachments to the point where people are using stock weapons, combined with the fast time to kill, and big maps where players can choose to hold down lines, combines to have the lowest skill ceiling to date in any Call of Duty game. Speaking of skill ceiling, back in my day when I was a little kid, whether I played Call of Duty or Counter-Strike or Battlefield, the skill ceiling regardless of the game was high, and to play through the game and go through the journey was a highly rewarding experience. Each game had its own level of mechanics, which separated the newbie player from a seasoned pro. Whether it was mastering the recoil and burst control of using an AK-47 in Counter-Strike to become a master of the skies where people were amazed by your jet and helicopter flying skills in Battlefield, putting the time in to improve your skills in the game showed, and felt both highly rewarding and satisfying. Both the old Battlefield and Call of Duty games had movement mechanics that took time to learn and master. You actually went through the learning process of how to play the game, what works, what doesn't, and truly progressed as a player. You actually had to use your brain and think of your actions and reflect if you wanted to improve and get better. The games left this up to you. You also got to play a good mixture of skill where one game you absolutely go off and feel like you're an absolute beast. The next where you fight some tougher opposition, perhaps lose but pick up a trick or two from the better opposition, which helps you grow as a player. To the next game, where you are in a close fought game and it's been enjoyable and a true GG, regardless of whether you won or lost. All these unenforced upon random possibilities round to round made the game play truly enjoyable. I actually feel sorry for low level players and ones that are new to the game. Sure, when they're new it makes sense to be put in that bracket starting out, but then there needs to be a system in which they too can grow to become better players should they choose. In current state, if a new player does well, they will after a few games get the odd game where they are placed against players of a higher skill level and get absolutely stomped on, and the skill-based matchmaking algorithm then again returns them to play against players of a lower level. The main issue is that the new players in the system do not get to play against, alongside, or see enough of good players to see what they do, how they play, their thought process. Whether they recognize it or not, they're stuck in a kind of ELO SBMM hell. Activision, deceptively and in the guise of protecting new players, are actually aiming to keep them playing the game longer so they can spend more on skins, bundles, and microtransactions. Even in the sweatier lobbies, players stop pushing and play more defensive, start holding angles or stop moving as much to try and sound whore to achieve some easier kills. You don't get to play Call of Duty in the playstyles you want to play the game in. There is no balance. Instead, the game forces you to play in a type of playstyle that it wants you to play at. So whether you're a new casual player or one that has been playing for years, the skill-based matchmaking system helps no one, and it shows with Modern Warfare 2, losing 2/3 of its Steam player base since launch. To close it out, this also takes my final topic of discussion, which is reward. So what is the reward for this strict skill-based matchmaking? There is such strict skill-based matchmaking in this game, and it's not even ranked play. If I wanted to play a tactical-like shooter where I'm constantly fighting everyone, every game, people at the supposed same skill level as me, why wouldn't I hop on to CSGO, or Valorant, or Rainbow Six Siege? Instead, where I can grind to the top of the ranks and divisions. My ranks are visible in those games, and again I have something to show for them, for all the effort I've put in, unlike Call of Duty. I, alongside many others, feel like there is a strong lack of achievement to be had when playing this game in its current state. Anyway, if you've stayed with me throughout this little rant of mine, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out. I truly appreciate it. And let me know what your thoughts are on what I've spoken about. Do you agree? Or if there is anything you don't agree with, or have a different opinion on, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys, I'll catch you next time.